Welcome everybody that's just joining. I see Ashley. I believe Ashley is from Phoenix. We've got Dave Keith and crew over there at Galena Fine Jewelers. Doreen, you're in Tucson, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. We have Yvonne from Westside Deli, one of our WEVO members here in Sedona. Wonderful sandwiches. And it looks like people are going to be hopping on from time to time as they join in. And we're going to go ahead and get started, guys. I'm really excited to have all of you on the webinar today. Let me tell you why we do this and a little bit about who we are. And what's really interesting is we're starting to get people from global influential leadership to government pay attention to this idea of high vibing, thriving tribe. It's really more than an idea, though. It is a mental and physical action. So it's the mental mastering of the mind, it's the mental mastermind, and the physical action of collaboration. Now, I believe, and if you follow me closely here with these next few words, I believe that when we developed the internet, we did something incredible, but we left a couple pieces out. By developing the internet, we created one global geography. Prior, we had different geographies separated by culture and states and even cities and state and country. And so based on different cultures, based on different leadership, based on different agendas, the world had leadership in pockets, in places. But when we created the internet, we actually removed the borders to a degree and created one global geography. When we created this global geography, what we failed to do is generate more global, authentic leadership by putting leadership back into the hands of the people and creating harmonic culture. Now, it sounds very altruistic and very philosophical to want to accomplish those two things, but here's why. When you look at personal and professional achievement and success, it typically is going to come through a concept of aligned effort and energy, the mental and physical collaboration. And what I learned is without awareness, people would fail to collaborate. Let's take a look at a couple examples of what that would be. People fear competition. I've never feared competition in my life. It's never been a concern of mine because I was aware to the component that competition would bring, that if for one reason or another I lost business to someone else, it simply meant that I was not at my highest and best, or that it was rightfully so that business went somewhere else, which in that case is the highest and best outcome I could hope for. And so just bringing awareness to a simple point like that, or creating harmonic culture. I hear people talk about and dream about global peace, but yet can't exist in their own home together. And I wonder, and I ask myself, if we can't solve getting along in our own home, in our own city, or our own community, in some cases, or becoming aware of what would create the harmonic culture to exist and coexist in our own home or our own community, our own city, then how in the world would we ever create global peace or solve global issues? So I'm a very simple and practical person. I believe that the change begins inside with you, with me, and then on the outside through our interaction. And so this model and the WEVO secret is about 8 principles of what we call WEVO DNA that help us to come together and create the concept of high vibing, thriving tribe. It's a high vibration, empowering, encouraging, uplifting, and productive. This is the key here. It's not just a group hug. It's productive. It is getting outside of myself, outside of yourself, and your hypnotic rhythm to create and escalate productivity to make more impact, not only for you, but the people around you, and eventually for the planet. So let's dive in and just take a look at a few thoughts. Are you asleep, awakening, or awake? In my research and in my experience in life, I've witnessed that many people are asleep, and they've created an immunity to change and a numbness. Okay, we want to help inspire waking people up. The awakening, I would say the majority of people that have been inspired are awakening. And then there are a handful of people that are awake. And no judgment in any of these three categories. It's simply about awareness. So what I like to say as I'm teaching in groups or with individuals is that success begins with awareness and dreams are realized with aligned effort and energy. This webinar today is to give you one more piece in the formula for personal and professional success and to bring in another perspective with Mr. Don Moyer. And if Melinda's there and able to share as well, I know I think today is mostly Don, if not all Don. But Don is just a tremendous asset in my life, a wonderful friend, and has insights and consistency and continuous applied action to accurate activity and habit that I know he's going to add great value to what we're talking about today in definiteness of purpose. So let's just move on and just look at a quick review of the WEVO DNA that make up this high-vibing, thriving tribe. You have 4 interactions. These are internal. This is the deep work, the inner work, where you go through introspection and you look inside and you say, what is it about me that is the catalyst to causality that causes effect, right? There's a humility and an accountability and responsibility to looking inside and developing myself from the inside out. This, I wouldn't call it, study is not the key. Information without transformation is just clutter. But if the information is a catalyst to transformation through awareness, then we begin to see real change and we overcome the immunity to change. So we have awareness, we have clarity of dreams, and from clarity of our dreams, we're able to define and become definite about our purpose and then create wellness through congruence. Those are the 4 interactions. The 4 interactions, everything rises and falls on leadership. It rises with authentic leadership. You're going to hear that over and over and over. Who's the authentic leader? You are. You're the leader of your own life. You're the creator of your universe. The world, in fact, does revolve around you, despite what common cliche would say. The world doesn't revolve around you. It absolutely does. Your world revolves around you. You're at the center of it as an authentic leader. And based on authentic leadership, you create either what you consciously desire or subconsciously randomly produce. Attracting tribe is the 6th DNA. Once you establish yourself as an authentic leader, you will attract people to you, and you begin the process of leadership through followership. And hopefully that evolves as you evolve to where you're leading leaders to lead other leaders. And then you create harmonic culture, create an environment much like this space that Bina created for me today at the foothills of the Red Rocks of the famous mountain, Thunder Mountain. I'm overlooking the green trees. Everything in my environment right now is harmonic. It is a beautiful feeling and a beautiful thing to exist in the flow and balance of natural law. And that's what this space physically represents to me today. And the work that we're doing here and the awareness that we're creating here represents. Align effort and energy. When we come together in tribe and we align effort and energy, we start to be mindful of this concept that when we all got connected, there's an evolved piece of this I can't talk about today, but we will at some point as you engage the Carnegie Principle, as you engage WEVO, as you engage our partnerships, and you become part of this tribe. There's this piece of awareness that we'll get to later that it's actually connection is not the final step. There's a higher awareness past that. But let's just talk about the current connection we have. The wonderful programs like Facebook and Microsoft and all of these technology developers that have built connectivity and communication at the speed of thought. When that happened, what we failed to create as a global tribe is an environment or a culture where we would learn how to collaborate in a way that each individual could achieve and accomplish their dreams and desires and be aware of and mindful of the whole. Okay, the whole is the whole tribe, and it matters because it impacts each and every one of us. And the tribe would become aware and mindful of the value and importance of each individual. The byproduct of this awareness is you will feel a very strong sense of belonging, and therefore you will want, that feeling will propel you, it will inspire you to want more of it, because we are, by nature, we want to feel that sense of belonging, but not just in a group hug. It's got to be empowering, encouraging, uplifting, and productive. Eventually, what I've witnessed, just being real, all good movements that feel good, but don't have an element of productivity where people are prospering, eventually fizzle out. Okay? There has to be some tangible outcome to it. The nature of what really gives us happiness and inner peace is progress. And we won't debate that today. We won't mastermind that today, but it's something to become very aware of. So let's take a look at today's DNA, definiteness of purpose. Why become definite with purpose? It's very simple in my perspective. To have a guidance system to what is important, to develop unwavering commitment, and to generate power through congruence. Why power? Nothing on earth moves without power. You generate this power, and Don's going to be able to touch on this much better than I ever could. He is masterful at it, and with his concepts and with his insights on the Carnegie Principle subscription, you're going to be able to hear another perspective on this. But you generate power through congruence. When thoughts, emotions, feelings, words, and actions align, this is the key, they align with your stated mission and vision of who you are. Now, if I ask for a show of hands, who has defined, written, memorized, and total awareness and congruence with and they have this written down, they have it completed, and it's constantly evolving. But if you have awareness and written plan of your mission and vision, now if you don't, how could you possibly align thoughts, emotions, feelings, words, and actions to be congruent? So we go through that work here in WEVO. We take each individual member through that work so that they can become aware of who they are and what they bring to the world and what they see for the future and what they're willing to create, their will and resources, by applying what Don is going to share with us here in the next few minutes. So why definiteness of purpose? To have a guidance system, to develop unwavering commitment, and to generate power through congruence. Now, what we want you to be mindful of are a few accurate thoughts, activities, and habits around this. And we're not diving deep here, guys. This is not meant to be right. It's not meant to be wrong. It's not meant to be accurate. It's not meant to be inaccurate. What we're simply doing is suggesting an awakening and awareness to some thoughts, activities, and habits so that you can look inside and create the positive change you desire on the outside and the results that you want in your personal and professional life. So take inventory and be honest. Are you right now living with definiteness of purpose? Take inventory and be honest about where you are. Take personal inventory. Am I definite? Am I really? Napoleon Hill said this in Outwitting the Devil. In the interview, he asks of his counterpart, he says, what are the two things that a person needs to have to avoid drifting, to avoid being a wandering generality? The wind blows this way and they go that way. The waves are high and so they falter. What does a person need to be definite? And Napoleon Hill said very clearly, they need to be an independent thinker with definiteness of purpose. And if you look throughout all studies of all time, you're going to see that. as kind of two core pillars of all personal and professional success. And then here's a tough question you have to ask yourself while you're doing the deep work. When I became definite, was it inspired or conspired? When I became definite, was this divinely inspired? Was it intuition? Was I tuned in and in the flow and in the really in the knowing of a higher law or of a higher plane or of some other influence other than common thought that's been around me? 95% of the world is in common thought creating common result. And a small percentage of the world is in uncommon thought creating uncommon result. So what I trace this back to is that about 5% of people will become definite based on some type of higher inspiration versus one conspired by common thought. So just be aware of this. I'm not asking you to believe or not believe, just become aware and do your own deep work. With that, each week here on the WEVO Secret, we launch through our social media, through our power breakfast, through our Tuesday happy hour, through our email broadcast, and of course, it starts here on the webinar. We have a weekly intention, and the intention for this week, if you choose to accept it, is to do the deep work to discover definiteness and trust that the deep work is divine placement. What does that mean? I'm not asking you to believe what I believe. I'm asking you to believe that if things are predetermined, you're getting a glimpse of the future. If they're not predetermined, it's coming from a higher source, your higher self, your evolved awareness, whatever you want to call it. I don't have a word for you to put on it, but you can put your own awareness to it and discover what it is and what is accurate for you. But trust me when I tell you, one of the best things you can do in defining your definiteness of purpose is still the voice and programming of society, and allow yourself to be in the space to receive what is truly, truly important to you. And when you do that, all of us, the whole WEVO tribe, and all of the people around you and everything in the universe, in my perspective, can come to your aid to accomplish that, because it is there for a reason. And you don't need to discover the reason. You just need to trust that it is there for a reason. And as you walk out this journey of life in definiteness, you achieve and accomplish your part in a beautiful tomorrow. So with that, I am very, very excited to just bring my dear friend on the line. Don, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And as you take over and just start sharing with us, then we're going to be able to see you up on the screen here. But guys, I want to tell you that this is one of my mentors, one of my dear, dear friends. He's leading an amazing organization. He inspires people all over the world. I think he's written somewhere over 20 or 30 books. He's shared stages with now let me take that back. Top names in the motivational teaching mentorship space have shared the stage with him, and they've been fortunate to do so. So Mr. Don Moyer, why don't you come on and share some insights with us about definiteness of purpose?
Brother, you know, what an honor to be with you and with all the WEVO family. You know, you and I go back a long way. We traveled together. We spoke on tour together. The synergy and the compatibility is so awesome. I love what you're doing with WEVO. It's a true mastermind. You know, when we talk about the mastermind, there are a lot of different perspectives of the mastermind. And when we delve into the mastermind, when we go back into history and we really look at what the mastermind was, it was a group of individuals of like-mindedness that would gather together to learn how to master the mind. So one perspective of the mastermind is getting together to learn how to master the mind, which goes back now down to talking about definite of purpose. So definite of purpose is really the secret to all power. Now I would encourage you to write that down. Definite of purpose is the secret to all power. Now, why is that so? Because when we live here on this physical plane, we're operating in a physical experience, but in all reality, we're energetic beings. And we move in and out of the quantum field. And when we learn how to understand the law of attraction, when we learn how to work with universal laws, our life begins to work harmoniously. We begin to put it together so that it works on purpose. Now, definite purpose is the secret to power, because it allows us now to be able to go into the quantum field and work from a point of creation. Now, Brett, you had shared and said that we don't live in a world of competition. We never live in a world of competition. We live in a world of creation. The masses live in a world of competition because they don't understand these principles. They don't understand these dynamics. But in all reality, we are living in a world of creation every single day. Now, many times people will create things that they don't want. They'll create the drama, they'll create the circumstances that they're not happy with, because we are creators. And we create the things that we don't want in our lives because we have no definite purpose. When we understand definite purpose, we realize what we're doing. We begin to wake up, as you shared, Brett. We begin to wake up, and we begin to realize and operate that when we are talking about definite purpose, we're really talking about our ability to be aware of how the quantum field operates and how it works. What's interesting about the quantum field is that it's the true reality of life. In other words, many times we'll look at our situations in life and we'll say, that's reality. We look at our bank account and we see a certain number, we say, that's reality. But really, that is only physical matter that is subject to change. Everything on this physical plane is subject to change. Our bank account, our health, our relationships, our business, the entire world around us on this physical dimension is subject to change. There is only one true reality, and that's the reality that lies in the quantum field. Now, here's what's great about this. You can choose whatever you want to do, and it already exists. You just have to have a definite purpose to decide that's what you want. Now, in the quantum field, this is what's so exciting about this. In the quantum field, all reality exists simultaneously. That means the perfect you exists in the quantum field. On the other hand, right next to it in the quantum field is the non-perfect you. In the quantum field, there is the perfect healthy you. And in the quantum field, there is the unhealthy you. In the quantum field, there is your perfect ideal income, whatever that might mean to you. The perfect business already exists in the quantum field. But there is also right next to that in the field of quantum, the potentiality of a bankrupt business. And when we start now dealing with quantum, we're talking about energy that has not took physical form. And when we have a definite purpose, because we understand that that's power, we're now able to take our thought and move it into the quantum field and see and envision that perfect reality. When we focus on the perfect reality that's in the quantum field, now we begin to move that energy into form that will end up as a result in our life as the perfect reality that we want on this physical plane. Now, I know that sounds a little bit complicated, but as we learn to grow and expand our awareness and our thoughts in this subject, you begin to find that it's very, very simplistic. And so in this physical plane, where people get tripped up, is we're always looking at what the physical senses tells us. We're always looking at what the physical plane says, and we believe we've been conditioned. We have been programmed to think that that is permanent, but we know that it's not permanent. We know that everything in the physical plane is nothing but a vibration. It's a frequency. And you and I are able to raise our energy. We're able to move our frequency. We're able to harmonize to exactly what we want that's already created in the quantum field. Now, this is where it becomes mind-blowing and exciting, because now we know there is no such thing as hard labor. You know, everybody's trying to create wealth, they're trying to create business, and they're struggling because they don't understand a better way. They don't understand and realize that with our thoughts and with our power of creation, we're now able to go in there and through a definite purpose, and this is why I say definite purpose is the real secret of power. Because unless you have a definite purpose, you're going to float around your thoughts in the quantum field, and normally they're going to gravitate towards our old programming. Unfortunately, most of us have programmings from our youth, from our childhood, from our adolescence, our young adulthood, that do not longer serve us. In other words, For instance, when we talk about things that we say, we were growing up and our parents said, don't talk to strangers. Well, that worked as a child, but as an adult, if we are going to expand, if we're going to grow, if we're going to love, if we're going to be able to be a thriving contributor to planet Earth, then we need to learn to talk to people. We need to learn how to communicate. And so when we understand that when we look at the quantum field with a definite purpose, that we can create anything that we want because it's already there. We do not have to strive. We don't have to have competition. We don't have to work hard and labor for it. Now, many people get the definition of hard work and hard labor confused. They think it's one and the same thing. Mm-hmm. But in all reality, toil, hard labor is using the intellectual part of our mind to try to figure things out. But our intellectual mind, our beta mind, is very, very limited. It only can go back to experience and knowledge and teachings that we've had in the past. But when we use our inner being, our intuition, our thoughts are going into the quantum field, then now we are limitless. In other words, we now move beyond the borders of limitation and struggle. Now, this comes through an awareness. This becomes a waking up and realizing who we really are. Do you realize that every single one of us right now on this webinar is living far below our potential and ability? But as we become aware, as we become awakened, as we now define what definite purpose is really all about, and we begin to now expand our education and our awareness into the quantum field and how it operates, we now know that we live in a friendly universe. That means that the universe wants you to succeed. The universe has designed everything in the quantum field so that you can move with your thoughts into the quantum field with a definite purpose. And that thing, the health, the relationship, the marriage, the money, the finances, the business, the whatever, now begins to be attracted to us through the law of attraction and shows up in our life. I like to call it money coming knocking on your door. How about that, right? While the world is out there trying to find money and trying to get their hands around it, when you become aware and have a definite purpose and go into the quantum field with a definite purpose to create more money, then money starts chasing you down. Isn't that a good thought? I mean, money comes knocking on your door. How about that, right? Most of the people are out there selling, knocking on people's door, hoping to get some money. Hey, let's do this the correct way. Let's have a definite purpose, go into the quantum field, see it, visualize it, begin to vibrate our frequency in harmony with it. And I promise you, it will start finding you. It will run you down and take you over. It will knock on your door and says, here I am. And all you got to do is say, come on in. And it's a beautiful way to be able to do this and understand. Now, it doesn't work with just money. When we have a definite purpose on our relationships or our health, it all works the exact same way in the quantum field. And so now what begins to happen is when we have a definite purpose, we really start working less. We now start struggling less. And all of a sudden now life becomes a beautiful experience here on planet Earth that we now begin to share with other people. We begin now becoming contributors to this planet instead of takers on this planet. And it all goes back down to learning the power of definite purpose. So, Brett, I hope this was able to bring a little bit light on this subject and be able to bring a little bit of enlightenment on the area of the quantum field and how wonderful that knowledge is to be able to make our life work. And having a community like this is so awesome because now we get together collectively to support one another and be able to share these higher depths and really go out there and expand it to the entire planet so that we become the true light of this world. So, brother, I'm going to pass it back to you. I hope that was a little bit of insight that everybody enjoyed.
Very, very much so, Don. I'm watching the comments come in the chat. And of course, I knew even before we started that you would over deliver because I spent a lot of time with you on tour and just you and I in Mastermind. We've been working together for a while now and being able to share insights and experiences. And I can tell you last weekend was a great example of what you're talking about. I had 3 key relationships that will exponentially move my life forward that happened last weekend. They came while I was sitting over in the corner. No, I was standing in the corner by the coffee. I was getting coffee at this event. And this gal comes over, and her name is Deb. And Deb comes over and she says, I don't know why, but I am supposed to meet you. And she said, intuitively, I'm supposed to be here talking with you. And I've been waiting for this moment all weekend. So we had a nice little chat. She pulled me out in the lobby, said, sit here on the couch. She brought 3 individuals with global influence over to me and sat them down and said, you need to sit here and listen to Brett. Now, as I had conversation with these people, amazing things happened. And what I attribute that to, Don, honestly, is what you just described. I am unwavering in my definiteness and commitment to my purpose. The only movement is when more intuition comes, or I'm more able to tune in and become more aware, and I pivot and course correct and I adjust, and I continue to refine the focus. But based on that and what you just shared and what we just got done really sharing with the group here, I attribute that success last weekend and all success to the quantum field and to this work of really becoming aware, from going from being asleep to awakening. Now, being awake is a big statement. A lot of people make that statement, and I think sometimes it blocks the awakening process. If it's rightful to do so, then by all means, no judgment. But being in the awakening state to become more aware is one of the most powerful tools I've ever had to be able to use to increase my life and business the way I am today. So thank you so much for sharing that. How do people get a hold of you, brother, if they want to engage you or engage Carnegie?
Yeah, it's so simple. You go to our website, you contact me there, www.carnegieprinciple.com. All the information is there. My contact information is there, and they can reach me at that level. And brother, I wanted to say, when talking about awake, when you become awake, then everyone around you in your world is going to wake up on every dimension, and that's always a good thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Heather Ramsey, I think you popped in as we were wrapping up. Are you there and vocal?
I've been here right from the beginning, actually.
Okay. Well, what I would love to do, because I didn't see you at the very beginning as we got rolling, is would you just kind of take us out with a few final thoughts and close this out and invite everybody to join us next week? And please let people know how to get a hold of you as well, dear.
A pleasure as always. I can reverse engineer and be the bookends to an epic session as usual. Good to see you, Don, and Melinda as well, and all the gang. It looks like Bruce and his duet there are looking over the Sedona Red Rock Mountains. I think I know exactly where you're sitting. And yeah, waves to everyone, and David in his fine gold and silver office. So greetings to everyone. And I want to just highlight a few things. I have them visually here, but I'm just going to stay on video and really anchor in a few things. If you ever wonder what this woo-woo thing called mastermind is, Brett has broken it down in 2 pieces. Align your mind and align your action. A second headline I want to bring to you. This is from last week. It doesn't matter what time. He also said, and I'm going to quote Don in a moment, but Brett said, the goal is not to get a new client. The goal is to create a new ecosystem of clients and services for all. That was a second big nugget for me last week. And there was a number of nuggets from Don this week. But maybe for this third and final nugget, I'm going to drop us out of our mind and into, if you can, for this last 60 seconds or so, just picture in however you do this thing called the quantum field. Even simpler, this thing that's in you and around you all the time right now called energy. And a possibility that one representation of your beautiful soul is a thought that we happen to call a definite purpose. And just very effortlessly take from your soul just this one thing that might be this DP, this definite purpose, and just very effortlessly Now I'm doing this more energetically than with words and thoughts. Drop that definite purpose, that thing that you may or may not even be able to put into words yet, into this beautiful thing, this limitless thing called this quantum field. And like a marriage, allow your soul to say yes to the quantum field. Allow the effortlessness of who you're already here for to be effortlessly married or unified with the quantum field or with all that's possible. Still perhaps too many words, but I sense you're receiving the message, which is I just delivered it in a complimentary way, if that speaks to you. So I'm often linear left brain as well, but I wanted to just last 60 or 120 seconds or so give you a taste, a vibrational sensation, a feeling that you're already in the quantum field. Your soul already knows what its definite purpose is, and you're simply waking up to your wedding day. So congratulations all, you just got married to the universe, to yourself today, right here, right now. Enjoy the marriage, enjoy the wedding, enjoy the celebration, and the union and the power of bringing you and the universe truly consciously together. It's an honor as always to serve you. I don't know where that came from other than divine essence, because it was unplanned, but I hope you enjoyed that, because I enjoyed Dawn and Brett and each one of you in your presence. So may you never be the same. It's an honor as always. Heather Ramsey, rewiredworldwide.com if you wish, but right now, just celebrate your marriage.
Beautiful, Heather. Don, Heather, thank you for contributing. Each and every one of you on the call, thank you for your affection and attention. We will be back here next week, and what I want to invite you to do, we are going to bring awareness each and every week through our collaborative partnerships, through our high-vibing, thriving tribe, to this webinar where we're going to be putting a good amount of beautiful energy to help you and your loved ones create more of what you desire in your life with less effort, as Don said, with less effort, as Heather said, and marrying really what is truly real, not what is perceived, not the illusion, but what is truly real in your life. So beautiful to be on the webinar with each and every one of you. WevoSecret.com. Share it each week. Invite your, here's the power you have to realize about this. As your tribe, your current sphere of influence becomes more aware of these principles, it increases the prosperity for everyone because you have the synergy of the collective mind. So when you share this, you're not creating exposure for us. We're going to create exposure anyway. You're creating more awareness in your tribe so that it can thrive. So let's bring more people onto the webinar next week, and we'll bring more insights and more value and more energy. Love you all. Look forward to seeing you next week. And I'll go ahead and unmute so you guys can say hello, say goodbye, and send your blessings. But thank you, Heather. Thank you, Don. And it looks like, wow, it looks like everybody is there. Unmute Alan. Ashley, you're unmuted.
Thank you so much.
Bruce, you're unmuted. Vina, Doreen, you're unmuted. Jason, I don't know if you wanted to be unmuted, but you are. Ashley, I don't think it's letting me unmute you. Jeffrey, you're unmuted.
Thanks, guys.
Karen in Canada. Melinda, Darren, Yvonne. Okay, I did my part to unmute everybody. So thank you, everybody, for being on the... Yeah,
Thanks,
lovely.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your wedding day.
I do. Don, Brett,
I do.
Love you guys. What a wonderful time. Bruce, Deborah, who is that there with you? You got a trio there.
Thank you.
Oh, Cheryl Rogers?
Yes.
Wonderful. Hi, Cheryl. The best hugs in the universe from that one.
We can have a new show. We can have a new show, Bruce's Angels.
Yes.
What'd she say?
Bruce's Angels.
Yes. We need one more.
I'm coming. I'm on a plane.
Okay,
I'll give you a hug.
Oh, you rock, Jason Mayer. All right, love you guys. Big hug to everybody.
bye guys. We love you.
Don, thank you.
Bye.